Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. So now we're going to go to a 70-mile week. What does it look like? How does it break down? If you've seen my other two videos, I've done a video on what a 50-mile week looks like and what a 60-mile week looks like. And I break it into two sections. One is for middle distance runners who are training for events up to maybe 5K, sometimes even 10K now that we're at 70 and 80. And then on the other side for distance folks who are training for anything from 10K towards the marathon. It's structured differently. The focus on certain things is different. The emphasis is different for certain sequences and workouts. So this is why I wanted to give you option 1 and option 2. And I'll take you over to the whiteboard so you can see it. I also do it for 14 days so that you get a day off once every 2 weeks, okay? Some folks need a day off every week. Some folks need, a day off every 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It really depends on your age, your experience, what you're training for, your ability to handle more work or whether you might need less work, and what you're training for. So it all really depends as an individualized component. But I like to kind of keep it with a day off every 14 days just so you can see a pattern of consistency. Okay, and this is also a repeatable cycle that you could do twice for 28 days and then kind of reevaluate and see if you need to make any changes to the training. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over here and we'll go through it and I'll explain the differences between the two and the similarities between the two as well. So take a look in the description down below if you want to see the 50-mile week and 60-mile week, just so you can see, and you'll see the progression from 50 to 60, 70, and the next video I'm going to go over an 80-mile week. So and it's important to know the difference and notice the difference between the two so that if you're a coach or an athlete, you have an idea on what might be a good fit here, what might be a good fit there. This could be a guide for you to follow or kind of modify and change and make into your own. But I at least want to let you know it's available out here and so you can take a look at it. And I'm also going to put a bunch of other videos in the description down below. Every video I do, you'll always have videos in the description down below that are kind of relevant to the video that you're watching. So always take a look. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a coach or an athlete, you want a lot of good content, training programs, workouts galore, this channel is for you. So before we go over there, hit that subscribe button right now and hit the notification next to it so you don't miss the videos that are going to be coming forward. And I have almost 200 training videos already out. But let's get over here and let's take a look at the details. All right, slide you over here. Got the whiteboard. All right, and we'll take you through 2 weeks on the middle distance side and on the long distance side. Now something to keep in mind, 70 miles. So it's an average of about 10 miles per day. But you'll notice on the the day off in the second week, you're hovering around 60 to 62 miles as to maintain the average of 10 miles per day or approximately 10 miles per day. And there's no significant disruption in the average. And that's important because the last thing you want to do is run 70 in 7 days and then try to run 70 in 6 days, which adds to the average miles, okay? But it also completely negates the off day that you're putting in there. It makes it pointless. So that's one reason, and I wanted to emphasize that so that you know why it's there, okay? But with that, let's get to it. Mondays, 7 miles easy. Whether you're in school or work or whatever, I always like to have an easy day on Monday, and that's also a good day to add core and strength and things like that. But it's a great way of starting the week off, particularly if you do your long run on Saturday or Sunday. Right, and then Tuesday, and at 70 miles per week too, this is the first time I actually add doubles or 2-a-days, if you can handle it, if you have the time and the capacity. If you don't, then you don't. That's okay. But I add them Tuesday and Thursdays. I don't see the point in having one double day per week. I think at least 2 are a good idea if you can handle it, or if your athletes can handle it and have the time to do it, just because it establishes a pattern of consistency. So 3 in the morning, nice and easy. And then in the afternoon, let you do your warm-up, 2 miles, drills, strides, so you get ready for the workout. And then this day would be like an anaerobic threshold day, okay? So let's just say a 4-mile anaerobic threshold, which is about 10 seconds or 15 seconds slower than 10-kilometer pace, okay? But it's a continuous run for 4 miles or no more than 25 minutes, okay? And then you take let's say a 5-minute active recovery, and then you attach some speed on the back end, with the 3 to 4 by 200 or 150s or 5 to 6 times 100 or something like that, just to simulate turning over when you're fatigued, okay? And then you do your cool down on the back end, 2 miles cool down. Wednesday, 10 miles and some easy relaxed strides, let's say 5 by 50 meters, Okay, just kind of flush out some of this from the day before. Okay. Thursday, 3 in the morning and then 7 to 8 miles in the afternoon. Okay. If you happen to have more time in the morning, then you do the longer component in the morning and the shorter one in the afternoon. It really depends on what works best for you or your athletes. Okay. Scheduling this stuff is very important. Okay. Friday, and I have a Tuesday-Friday workout pattern. 2-mile warm-up drills and strides, and you do training at 5K pace. So now we're going from like a little slower than 10K pace towards 5K pace, which is a little fast. So let's just say 5 to 6 times 1,000 meters with a 2-minute recovery, something like that, or 6 to 8 times 800 meters at 5K pace with a 2-minute recovery, and then 2 miles cool down. Okay, so the whole day is about 8 miles. And then Saturday, 12 to 13 miles. If you can do it over rolling areas, if it's available to you, that's a good idea. It's a great way of continually building strength. It's nice and relaxed, just getting in the time, getting in the miles. Okay, and then Sunday, 6 miles easy in strides. Okay, 4 to 5, 6 times 100 meters, nice and relaxed. Okay, so that's generally what a 70-mile week would look like. Okay, you've got a couple of long days, and the double days add up volume, but then the workout days add up volume too. So it adds up pretty quickly. Now, week 2, the same 7 easy miles on Monday. Tuesday, 3 in the morning, and the 3 in the morning kind of gets the legs moving, gets you loose and nice and get the blood flowing in the body and in the legs, so that when you come back for the PM workout, it's a little bit easier to transition to. You feel a little loose throughout the day. Now we're doing work at 3K to mile pace. So each workout gets faster and faster and faster. Okay, 3K to mile pace. So let's just say you're doing, I don't know, 4 times an 800 at 3K pace, and then 6 times a 400 at mile pace, or something like that, or whatever you feel is most appropriate. There's a lot of workouts that are available. Take a look at my workouts videos as well. I put in tons of workout videos for everything, for 800, mile, 3K, 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon. You have workouts video galore on this channel, so take a look at them. Okay, so that workout's the emphasis is 3K to mile pace. And again, you warm up 2 miles, drills and strides, cool down 2 miles, and then you have a good day. Wednesday, 10 miles in strides. Okay, so again, this is a recovery run. It's relaxed, and strides to kind of flush out the workout from the day before. Thursday, double, 3 in the morning, 8 in the afternoon. Friday, again, 2-mile warm-up drills and strides. And then you see you do a progression run. Let's say you do a 4-mile progression run where each mile gets faster a little bit. Maybe it's 5 to 10 seconds per mile or something like that, where you're kind of exceeding, or you're getting to this pace towards the end of the run or slightly faster. Okay, and then you take a 4 to 5 minute active recovery, and then you do some stuff at 800 meter pace. Okay, let's say 4 times 200 at 800 meter pace, or 4 times 150 at 800 meter pace. But now you've gone from like 10K to threshold to 5K to 3K to mile down to 800 meter pace after the progression run. So now you're addressing multiple speeds here. Okay, and then a 2-mile cool down. Saturday, 14 to 15 mile long run. Rolling or flat is fine as well. And then the off day Sunday. So you'll notice that the off day is after the longer of the long runs. You'll see a Tuesday, Friday consistent workout pattern. You'll see the workouts get faster in pace as you go on, so that when you go back, and if you repeat this, next time you could do a little something different on the anaerobic threshold or aerobic threshold. The aerobic threshold could be a little bit longer, okay, than the anaerobic threshold. The anaerobic threshold generally goes 20 to 25 minutes. Aerobic threshold can go anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, but it's slower than the anaerobic threshold as well. Take a look at some of my threshold workouts. I explain the difference between the two, and I explain the difference between a lot of the different workouts. And so if you're going to watch any of the videos, watch them from beginning to end, because you get a lot of detail, and I explain everything so you don't miss stuff. Okay, and again, consistent pattern, 2 double days, easy Monday, off day here on Sunday, so that you can repeat it. Okay, and that's what a 70-mile week looks like for, let's say, middle distance runners who are training for up to 5K and in some cases 10K. Okay, you're getting everything here. And the more of a multi-pace training system you do, the more you're set up for long-term success and short-term success too. Now let's bump it over to this side. Now we're training for anything from 10K up to the marathon. Okay, same easy 7-mile run on Monday. Tuesday, 3 in the morning, and then the PM, we have a speed fartlek. So let's say if you're training for the 10K, 16 times 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. That's after a warm-up and drills and strides and everything. If you're training for half marathon, you can bump it up to 20 times 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. Marathon, try to work your way up to 24 times 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy. It's 48 minutes of running for a total if you're training for the marathon. Not a ton. Okay, only 24 minutes of hard running, but this stuff is done at, anywhere from 10K pace down to 5K pace and even faster. So, but if you can get them around 5K pace for the most part, you'll be good to go. Okay, that's a really, really good speed workout. And speed development is important no matter whether you're training for the 800 or the marathon. Doesn't matter. But it helps you become a more efficient runner, helps you emphasize good form and good posture, and the longer the races get, the more important energy preservation becomes, okay? You want to conserve energy, and I say this in other videos. Being precise when it comes to training for the marathon and on race day is very, very important. It's not like you can run a marathon, and if it doesn't go well, you come back next week and do it again. Not only are marathons not available that often, but you don't recover the same way like you do a 5K or an 8K or a 3K. You can repeat those the following week. Marathon, you really can't. So that's why being on point with a lot of the training components is very important. Okay, so you have the speed fartlek here. Cool down on the back end. Wednesday, intermediate run of 11-12 miles. Okay, nice and relaxed. The goal is to have a second run aside from your long run where you're on your feet for an extended period of time. Okay, and this accomplishes that. And it's nice, relaxed pace, easy running. Okay, and then on the back end you do some strides. 3 by progression 150, 5 times 100, whatever you feel is appropriate. Okay, Thursday 3 in the morning, 8 in the afternoon. Double day. Friday 2 mile warm up drills and strides. Now you have a tempo run or aerobic threshold running. So similar to here, where you're doing either a tempo run and it could be an anaerobic tempo as well, okay? Or just your aerobic threshold run for 30 to 60 minutes, a continuous run. That's generally maybe at about half marathon pace or between a little bit slower than half marathon pace. But that's a great way of it, particularly if you're training for the marathon, that's a good workout to do, a good run to do, okay? And then you do a 2 mile cool down on the back end. Now the semi-long run of the 2-week cycle, 14 to 16 miles. The shorter end if you're training for 10K, longer end if you're training for the marathon, okay? And then Sunday, 6 miles easy with strides, okay? Some nice relaxed strides. Then week 2, 7 miles on Monday, starting the week off. Tuesday, 3 in the morning to loosen up, and then come back in the PM. Now we're doing hill repeats. Let's say you're doing 10 times a 200-meter uphill runs with a jog easy recovery, or 8 times a 400 uphill runs with a jog easy recovery on the way back down. Remember, up the hills too, you're staying upright, but you're leaning into the hills. Working on trying to keep the same posture, the same running cadence as you were on the flats. Obviously, if you're keeping the same cadence and the same rhythm, it's going to be slower going up the hill. That's okay. The idea is to maintain a similar rhythm so that when you crest the top, you can go back to a rhythm as soon as you get over it. Okay? And when you're going downhill, it's important to lean into the downhill and be perpendicular. Okay? Perpendicular, because it takes the stress off your Achilles, your knees, your lower back. So that's an important component. Downhill running is just as important as uphill running, but it's much more aggressive on the joints than uphill running is. So be careful with downhill running. So hill repeats, and then you cool down on the back end. Intermediate run of 12 to 13 miles. Okay, 12 or even 11, 13 miles, 11 miles if you're training for 10K, 13 if you're training for the marathon. Okay, intermediate again, easy, relaxed pace, and then strides. 3 in the morning, 7 in the PM on Thursday. Friday, 2 mile warm-up drills and strides again. Now you're doing like threshold or VO2 max work. So let's say you do anywhere from 6 to 8, even to 10 times a day, depending on where you're at in the season, how fit you are, how experienced you are. Let's just say anywhere from 6 to 10 times at 1,000 meters with a 1 minute recovery at your threshold pace. Okay? There's a difference between threshold and tempo. And in threshold, it's about 10 to 15 seconds faster per mile than your tempo run is. So it's important to know the difference between the two. And then, or VO2 max work. VO2 max work, let's say you're doing 5 times a mile, but those mile repeats are going to be 50 to 60 seconds faster per mile than your marathon pace. So again, if you're looking to run 3:30, let's say, which is 8 minutes per mile, these are going to be done at about 7 to 7:10 per mile. But you have a 4 to 5 minute recovery. So it's a good amount of recovery, and then you do it. You only need about 5 of them, no more than 6 if you're training for the marathon. That's it, okay? And then 2 mile cool down, and then the long run on Saturday, anywhere between 16 and building towards 21 miles. Okay, but again, a 70-mile week, I generally, and oh, by the way, and Sunday the off day. Okay, after the longer of the long runs. Now let's point some things out. Okay, 70 miles, I generally recommend that the long run be at least 20% of the weekly volume when training for the marathon. Okay, but there are some exceptions when you're training for the marathon as well. I don't recommend hitting 20 miles in any long run until you're at least running 60 miles a week. Okay, building towards that over time. So if you got to that point with 60 miles a week, generally you're going to get there at 70. So I don't recommend any longer than about 21 miles per run. And again, if you can get to the point where you do a 20 plus or a 20 plus twice before the marathon within your 12 to 14 to 16 week training plan, that's really, really good. Okay, but it's important to spread them out and do them accordingly and appropriately. 16 miles would be kind of on the lower end if you're training for a 10K, or in some cases you can't handle the super long run. So 16 miles is where it's at for some folks who can't handle the super long runs or don't want to do the super long runs but still want to run the marathon. It is doable, but it's a little bit more difficult to cap it at 16 when you're running for a marathon. As you get more fitter, as your volume goes up, I think it's a good idea. And speaking from 2 decades of experience as a former athlete and a coach, it's definitely a good idea to run, at least 1 or 2 20 to 20 plus runs on your build up to a marathon. Need to know what it feels like at that point. So that's one of the things. And again, the average is still the same. It's about 10 miles per day average. Okay, the workouts are slightly different, but I schedule them out accordingly so that the speed fartlek starts the week, but it's also following the long run. So anytime you do like a long run or a long hard simulation workout, I found from experience that the next workout should be a short and sweet workout. Okay, something just shorter and faster to kind of put the zip back in the legs. Okay, and that's why I have it here, and then following up with some tempo and threshold. But the faster stuff is generally earlier in the week. The slower stuff is generally later in the week with the cycle. But again, you can mix and match any way you want. So that's what a 70-mile week looks like for middle distance and distance. Let me know what you think. Put your comments, your feedback in the comments down below. If you found it helpful, hit the thumbs up. And I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm approaching 800. So if you haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe button. Even if you don't plan on watching all the videos, that's okay. But hitting the subscribe button is really helpful to the channel's growth, and it lets other people in the running community know that it exists. And my goal is to share this channel with as many folks as possible. So if you know other coaches and athletes who you think might enjoy this, please share the videos with them, share the channel with them, and let everybody chime in with their feedback. I learn as much from other athletes and coaches as they learn from me. So I'm here to kind of help as many folks, like I said, in the running community as possible. So I appreciate your support either way. Next video, like I said, I'm going to go over an 80-mile week, okay? Because some folks do get to that point, and I think it'll be helpful to show you what it looks like. So be on the lookout for that. Have a great week. Be safe. Talk to you next time.